The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. This is Comfortably Zoned Radio, and you're listening to the 50s, when bums and jints walk the streets of New York. I'm Peter Trunk, and with me tonight is Ron Rabinovitz. Ralph had to take a powder. Ralph Tycho took a powder. He had a sore throat. We let him go on the DL for tonight. Ronnie, how are you doing out there in
Good, Peter. How are
country?
You?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing well. We're very excited. The Super Bowl is this weekend here in Minneapolis, and people are pouring in. They're talking there could be 500,000 people coming here. So, and I drive for Uber, and I've been busy as hell. It's been fun. Met a lot of nice people already.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How's the weather? I know the game is going to be played indoors.
Yes.
Right?
Today it was 29 and sunny. It was a gorgeous day.
Okay, no problem.
But it's supposed to get cold. The next few days are supposed to be cold. So it might be like 9 above or 10 above for the game. But it's inside, so who cares? Yeah.
Right, it's inside,
Most
so who cares?
of these people will have antifreeze in them anyhow.
Yeah, that's true.
Liquor.
That's true.
Right.
80 proof, 90 proof, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you got
someone just come on.
Gentlemen, it's Ralph calling.
Hey, Ralph.
I screwed up a little bit. We have a guest tonight, Jim Campanis.
Oh, really?
Is about
Jim
to call
Campanis?
in. He's the grandson of Al Campanis.
Oh, my God.
And I'm going to have him call. I'm arranging for him to call in, and he'll talk to you guys.
Great.
Okay, what does he do now, Ralph? What's he doing now? What's he doing right now?
He just wrote a book, and he does fantasy camps and stuff like that.
Right.
Okay.
So
fabulous.
let me get with him.
Okay, have him call us.
Okay.
I'm going to do some logistics here, and
okay.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Now, Ronnie, today is somebody's birthday celebration today.
It is. It's January 31st. It's Jackie Robinson's 99th birthday. God bless his memory. And every year I would always send him a birthday card on his birthday. I never missed. As a matter of fact, he sent me a letter. One of the letters he sent me was about a birthday card that I had sent him. That I could share some of that with you if you would like.
I'd love it.
Okay, let me get to it right now.
Sure.
He said, "Dear Ronnie, thanks for the birthday wishes. That at my age, however, Ronnie, it's never too easy to get the best wishes after the birthday passes, which apparently the card got there late." And he said, "Smile. I'm glad that you're optimistic about the Dodgers. I am positive they will do better than last year, but I don't know how much better. I can't agree much about Boone and Rapolsky, but I hope you are right there also. I have been and expect to be very busy during the coming year, but I am going to keep a close eye on the political scene. I was disappointed in the developments of the opening days of Congress and have once again returned to the ranks of the independent with leanings toward the Republicans. It's quite obvious that the Democrats are run by the Johnsons and the Rayburns, and I cannot stomach the rest who do not have enough to make their point of view a factor. Perhaps the rest of the Democrats talk for effect, but when important issues come up, they can't do a thing at this setting. I expect to go all out for the Republicans in 1960, and I'm going to urge all my friends to do the same. As long as we have to sit back and see the things that have been developed, I would prefer the kind of leadership that at least is honest and expresses its own viewpoint. It may not be the way I believe, but it at least it's their opinion, and I trust a man who at least stands by his own beliefs. And I can't say the same as much for the Democrats who promise so much but produce nothing. Well, Ronnie, I didn't intend to get into a political hassle, but I am sure you and your dad must know how much I resented what just happened. Give my regards to all, Ronnie. I do hope the new year will bring you everything you asked for. Always, Jackie. So, he always sends a sweet letter. Uh-huh.
Yeah, nice letter. When he was talking about Moon and Rapolsky, was he talking? Right. He was talking about after the Dodgers won the 1959 World Series.
It must have been. I don't have dates on these letters, but it must have been because it had to be because it was coming up to the 1960 election, so it had to be. Yeah, right. It had to be, or either they were at 58 going into 59. I'm not sure, but quite a letter. I mean, he always says sweet things to me, and then he'd say something to my dad. And the reason he was a Republican, and he was a Rockefeller Republican, by the way, was because the Democrats were Dixiecrats. They were Dixiecrats, and they were from the South, and a lot of them were bigots, including Johnson at the time. And he turned himself around. But so that's how he. But Rockefeller today would probably be a Democrat. They'd probably throw.
Oh, absolutely. Rockefeller was a liberal. Yeah.
Of course he was. Yeah. So just like he would not support Goldwater in '64,
right?
Because he was so far to the right.
Yeah.
And he refused to do that, so he went to Humphrey. But so he would switch back and forth, and one day he'd say, Ike has made me a Democrat, and then he'd say, I'm tired of them. I'm going to go back to the Republicans, So, but he would switch around, and it was always the case of who is helping the civil rights cause, helping the African Americans.
Absolutely.
Right? Which
I wonder what Jackie would think about the kneeling during the national anthem and stuff by the football players and stuff like that. I wonder what his reaction to that would be in today's world. Do you have a guess about that?
Know. I kind of think he might support it because he
Didn't he say that he couldn't stand for the?
Late in his life, he was so frustrated. He was so frustrated with what was going on that I would say probably so. However, I would also say at this point that right now he would be spinning in his grave like a rotisserie chicken if he saw what's going on in Washington and what's happening with Trump and all this. He would be just crazy. Yeah. So I don't think he'd be a Republican right now.
No.
No.
I doubt it.
Absolutely
I doubt it.
not. Right.
Yeah.
I also wrote a letter. I wrote an article that was published in the paper. It was January 20th, 2009. It was the inauguration of Barack Obama.
Oh.
Now, 8 days before Jackie passed away, he had said in Cincinnati at the World Series, "I won't be happy till I see an African American as a manager in baseball or African American general manager."
Right.
And here we had inaugurated our first African American president. And the title that I wrote on this article was, "I wonder what Jackie would be thinking today," because here we had our first African American president. Of course, he never saw an African American manager. However, the first one was Frank Robinson. Coincidentally, another Robinson. They are not related, but he would have been so thrilled with Obama that we have come that far. And Barack Obama was known at that time as the Jackie Robinson of politics. That's what he was referred to by some of the reporters. Yeah,
he was the 44th president. I have a picture of Barack Obama sliding into home with a Dodger uniform on, and his number is 44. It was done up for the internet. But I saved it.
I have a baseball card with Barack Obama in a Brooklyn Dodger uniform.
I've seen that one, right?
Yeah.
I've seen that.
I think we have a guest.
Just came on.
It's me, and I'm hoping that Jim has joined you guys.
Yes, I'm here.
Good.
Campanis.
You know Ronnie Rabinovitz and Peter Tronk, and I'm sorry for all the technical problems tonight.
No technical problems. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Jim,
enjoy your show. And Jim may not know my voice is really under the weather tonight. These guys are carrying it. And
got it.
Jim's been on the airwaves before. He's terrific. So,
okay, great.
Enjoy each other's company, guys.
Thank you. Hey, Jim, welcome to the show. I'm Ron Rabinovitz.
Thank you, guys.
Peter Tronk is here.
Hi, I'm Peter. Welcome. Let's tell the audience who we have. I don't think the audience knows who we have as our guest, right?
Why don't you go ahead, Peter?
All right, Jim Campanis, author. His father and his grandfather were quite famous in Dodger lore. Jim, I'm gonna ask you to give us a little background, and then tell us about your book, if you would.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Well, I was, like any kid, you grow up, and that's what you know. Well, I grew up in a clubhouse, in Charleston, West Virginia, or Omaha, Nebraska, or Kansas City when my dad was with the Royals, or Pittsburgh with, and then later, my grandpa's GM of the Dodgers, so naturally I'm going to be the bat boy, right? And, work out on the field and play catch with Dusty Baker when I'm a little kid. I mean, all these things, that was just normal to me. And I took a lot of that for granted. And I would tell these stories to my friends, and they're like, dude, you got to write that stuff down, And I started to just write little tidbits of pieces of my, background, and then stories I hear my grandpa tell at the dinner table, or my dad, and then other, friends of ours. And then, of course, players I'm 50, and now I've got almost every guy that's gone into the Hall of Fame the last few years, either I played against or played with, it's kind of fun. It's kind of neat, But anyway, I wrote stuff down, and then all of a sudden, people liked it. And, I'm a marketing advertising guy, and, I used some of my little tricks of the trade, and somehow I got my book to #1 for Father's Day weekend last year. So it's kind of cool.
Wonderful.
So
what's the name of the book, Jim?
It's been an accident. It was an accident that just happened. And anyway, I had a playing career where I also, was an All-American at USC, 3rd-round pick by the Mariners. Got to the 40-man roster and had a disastrous wrist injury that happened the day they called me up, and that's some of the stuff that's in my book, So kind of a 3-generation thing, and we're friends with the Boones, who are the first, 3-generation Yankee, manager here, and I've known Aaron since he was 8. It's just funny.
Really?
He's the Yankee manager now. It's just funny. But anyway, thanks for having me on, guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, to show how old I am, the name of your book, Ronnie wants to know.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Born into Baseball, because I was born into baseball.
Great.
And of course I have bornintobaseball.com where there's some details, and my dad and I autographed the books. In fact, he turned 75 in a few weeks. So we're having a big party for him on Saturday. We call him Big Jim. Big Jim's going to be 75 here, and he's still shooting 70 on the golf course, so.
Wow. Great. It's funny you mentioned Aaron Boone being the 3rd generation, and now he's the manager of the Yankees. And I remember when I was a kid, and I used to collect my baseball cards and play in the Little League and stuff. I remember Ray Boone, 3rd baseman for Detroit. He was the grandpop, I believe, right?
I hung out with Ray a lot, and he was a scout for the Boston Red Sox, and he saw me play, a number of times. And funny thing is, I'm good friends with Brett. Brett and I played together at USC. We were teammates, and then Aaron's a bit younger, so when I signed, Aaron came in after that. So I never played with Aaron, but when I was on and this is a story in my book, but, Brett and I were just hanging out at their house over in California, which is 15 minutes or more my house was. And, and we're just sitting there watching TV, and his dad comes down the stairs. He's like, "Hey, you guys want to go to Vegas for an all-nighter?" We're like, "Yeah." So, we're in college, So we hop in his truck, and his brother, Rod, is with us. And so Brett and I are in the back of the truck, and it's a comfortable shell back there. They have a little shell on the truck. So we're just, chilling in the back, and we get to Vegas, and we gamble all night. And on the way back, Bob's like, hey, I'm getting kind of sleepy. It's like 8 in the morning or 6 in the morning maybe. He's like, why don't you please, keep me awake, man, by just talking to me. I go, okay. Well, I just got converted to catcher, and I'm kind of rough back there. Like, I'm watching you on TV, and you get into this, like, little crouch, like, what's up with that? Like, tell me your secrets. Like, I'll tell you what, for the next 3.5 hours, he just vomited all his catching knowledge onto me, and I'm trying to pick up every little piece, and I'm actually writing stuff down in the car taking notes, and they drop me off at my house, and I go right into my room, and I get out a formal notebook, and I start writing all this stuff down, and I carry that piece of paper in my whatever baseball bag I played in for the rest, because I'd go back, and he would just have these little nuggets of information that made me a really good catcher, So I love the Boone family.
Jim, what years were you a bat boy for the Dodgers?
So, sometimes I was, let's say, it would be around, I started probably around 77, 78.
Okay.
And then right up until I went to college in 85, I mean, I was a regular, like, all the clubhouse guys knew me, all the guards knew me, I just.
Sure.
I just waved at the guy at the gate, and they just let me in. I didn't even stop.
That's great.
It's
The
not
reason
like
I asked you, because I was a very dear friend of Jackie Robinson's. We were very, very close friends. And today is his 99th birthday.
I know.
We were just talking about Jackie. And I loved your dad because he loved Jackie. And they were roommates for a while, weren't they?
Yeah, my grandpa and Jackie were roommates. And actually, there's a good story in my book. If you don't mind, I'll tell you the story. But
sure, go ahead.
It's very relatable to today because of Jackie Robinson's birthday. And so, yes, my grandpa and Jackie were good friends, and this is a pretty well documented way that you could say, well, friends would do this for friends. So anyway, my dad is in like 3rd or 4th grade, right? And he's got his it's like show and tell. So they're in Brooklyn, and it's show and tell day coming up for my dad, and he's got to prepare some show and tell thing, right? So he's like, hey, they're at dinner, and he goes, hey, Dad, to my grandpa, hey, Dad, can I get like a ball or a bat? A bat would be great, from Jackie Robinson, and I could show that at show and tell, and so my grandpa goes, well, let me go find it. Let me go ask him and see what he goes, when is it? And he told him the day and the time. He goes, okay, let me go ask him, and then I'll get it over to you. You got my word. He's like, my dad, okay, thanks. So my dad writes the little speech or whatever. So now it's his turn in class, and he's delivering this Jackie Robinson show and tell, and he doesn't have the item. He doesn't have the bat, the ball, the glove, whatever it might be. So he sees my grandpa in the window, and he runs over to the door to open the door, figuring he's going to hand him the ball and the bat, and into this Brooklyn classroom walks in Jackie Robinson himself,
How do you like that?
That
sounds like Jackie. That sounds like Jackie.
That's the best show and tell in the world.
That's right. So Charlie Steiner, formerly of ESPN, who's now the Dodger radio announcer, whenever he sees my dad, he calls him show and tell. Hey, show and tell.
Hey, show and tell. Right. That's great. Oh, that's wonderful.
So that's
so good to have you on here.
Stories that are in my book, because we would sit around and tell those stories, at Christmas or when we had some friends over or whatever. And anyway, that's just kind of, I had to write this stuff because it was like, I found out people wanted to hear this, like inside info, this inside stuff. And to me, this was just like normal life,
Right.
So, but I don't recall in my life, and this is one thing I wish Jackie he passed way too early. I know he had some health issues. But I remember meeting people like not Clark Gable, but like famous movie stars, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank, but you name some of these, like my grandpa kicked Rob Reiner out of his box because he was arguing about who he should trade and stuff. My uncle had brought him in as a guest. But I mean, like it was like the who's who of Cary Grant was someone who we would hang out with quite a lot. And Danny Kaye, and I mean there was a lot of famous people, and some of the presidents and stuff. But yeah, if I could trade any of that, meeting those people, it would be meeting Jackie Robinson as a little kid. That would have been quite a thrill. Yeah.
Oh,
and
it was so good for me, I'll tell you. I met him when I was 7 years old, and we were friends all the way up until the time he passed away in 1972. And he used to write me these handwritten letters, all written, and then he was at my 10th birthday party singing happy birthday to me. And he sent me a telegram when I graduated from high school. And he was just the most magnificent guy. And I go around the country now and I speak about him, about diversity and inclusion. And I also work part-time for the Minnesota Twins. And they have a lot of tour groups that go through Target Field, students and teachers and classes. So I have a whole presentation that I give them. And I do that about 35, 40 times a year.
Fantastic.
So I try to keep his memory alive.
Well, I followed you on social media on Facebook quite a lot, and I love reading your stories and seeing the pictures.
Great. Thank you.
The picture today was fantastic. It was a rare one I hadn't seen before.
Wasn't that great? That was on my 10th birthday party. Yeah. Are you on Facebook too? Are we friends on Facebook?
We are. Yeah, we are friends. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Terrific. Wonderful. Great.
Tell us about your baseball career. Tell us about your baseball career. How you got
I joke with people because my first, I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I'm out in right center in Three River Stadium catching fly balls from major leaguers at 6, and then throwing it all the way into second base where they had the pitcher set up with the bucket, and and my dad and his friends would like Dave Parker was kind of in on this one, but they would intentionally hit balls at me, and my dad would say, "Hit it as hard as you can." He told me this later. I want to see how he does, And I would, the AstroTurf was easy, but in the minors it was a little choppy out there. But I remember catching high fly balls that, we call them cans of corn, nothing major. But anyway, and I'm 5, 6, 7, and all of a sudden my dad retires, and now I'm going to start Little League at 8, and that's kind of advanced, I mean, it was quite a shock to see the level of play for 3/4 of my team, basically,
Yeah.
And that just kind of kept going, and I was kind of ahead of the curve. They call it baseball IQ, and I think that's something that we see a lot in 3-generation players because we're just inundated with the game, I made varsity as a freshman at a very competitive area in Southern California, Orange County, which is very rare. And I made all league and hit 4. I was like, again, I had all these really good things happening. And then I got a lot of opportunities to go to a couple of colleges. And, there's a story in my book. I could tell you guys if we had enough time, but anyway, there's the recruiting process is a little bit interesting, but anyway, I got recruited by a number of schools, but I always wanted to go to USC since I was a little kid, and I ended up going to USC, and before I knew it, I had made All-American as a junior. I still have records that will probably not be broken because these poor kids are using these wet noodle bats now that are just dead. And so I actually hit more home runs my junior year than the entire team did a couple of years ago. That's how bad it is.
Oh my God.
So, and these guys are monsters, compared to what we were like, So, and then I ended up getting drafted. I was 71st pick in the draft by the Seattle Mariners. Played with Griffey, caught Randy Johnson, went to all the big league camps. Made it up to the 40-man roster with the Mariners, and basically the day, and this is a big part of my book, basically the day they told me I was getting called up, I broke it. And after that, it was kind of a tough road, kind of damaged goods, getting a little bit too old. Hadn't really had some good years in the minors where, I just got injury plagued for the first time in my life. It was like 24, 25, 26. Those years are important, and I missed a big chunk of those years due to pretty big injuries, a separated shoulder and blown out knee and a broken wrist. And those are things you can't just play through. They won't even let you play through them. And trust me,
they won't let you.
I wanted to go. I told them, just wrap my wrist up. I'm fine. I got a base hit during that game because I didn't come out. I stayed in the game, and I got a base hit with a broken wrist. I'm like, I could get plenty of base hits. Send me up to the Mariners for Christ's sake.
Unbelievable. That's fabulous.
But that's that's how it goes in baseball. And I have a lot of players. I'm a baseball trainer. I gave about $1 million worth of scholarships from kids that I train.
Fabulous.
Just last year, just in 2017, and it's super. The parents pay me, of course, but then I'm like, man, I just saved that guy $250,000, Or I help save because the kid is, these kids. I don't have any snowflakes. I know we make fun of these younger kids. I have no snowflakes. These are hardcore baseball guys that I think they're also going to do well in life because they've learned how to work hard, old school, not this new whole, I'm a victim thing. These guys take responsibility for their success and failures, and that's part of what I kind of preach in terms of all good baseball players. It's not just physical, and I played, and you can ask any former pro player, and they'll say, "Oh, this guy in Little League was way better than me," or "This guy in high school was," but it comes down to the desire to continue to play and to continue to get better, and to deal with these adversities. Just and kind of understand what life's about, And so that's
truly love the game, right?
Yeah, I see a big parallel between what we go through as baseball players to be awesome when we fail 70% of the time, and that I believe is what is also translating to these young guys. I have about maybe an 11 or a 12-year-old, 13-year-old. That's about as young as I like to go. But I have guys all the way up through college, and every one of them, they're going to be successful whether they make it in baseball or not because of just what they're doing. So it's pretty wonderful.
Are you still living in California?
Well, it's both. So I'm a globetrotter. I go between Arizona and Southern California once a week. I'm driving it right now. I'm trying to figure out how I can. But I'm in Northern Arizona. I work in a radio group, top radio group. We reach 50% of the population in north of Phoenix, all the way up to Utah. And we have 8 stations, and so I'm in the advertising marketing side. I also do production, and if needed, I've done voiceovers and stuff like that. But it's a fun job, and that's what I got my major in after I got out of baseball was broadcast management. So I'm being kind of groomed. I think part of the reason I came here was to get into management and then potentially ownership of this group. So it's a lot of fun, and it's hard work. But, if it's fun, it's not work. So
are you still a Dodger fan?
I don't know anyone, and that's my thing. And I stopped being a Dodger fan the day I became a pro player because, first of all, they weren't the team I was on, and then secondly, I started meeting all these people, and then they started going to other organizations. So, Brian Price is the manager for the Cincinnati Reds. Well, we were teammates. Joe Madden for the Cubs helped save my ass when I got released from the Mariners on the last day of spring training. He signed me.
Wow.
And there's a story in my book about that. It's very odd the way that it happened. How can I root against the Cubs? You know what I mean? Brad Ausmus is on the baseball card with me, and I know he's not a manager of Detroit, but it's like all these guys and all these coaches. Tom Goodwin's a friend of mine, a very good friend. And it's like, okay, so how can I not root on the Mets? And it's just, it's so it becomes more of a personal thing. And I don't know anyone with the Dodgers because everything's changed. Dave Roberts and I, rubbed elbows here and there, but I just don't know anybody to.
Do you happen to know Sean Wooten?
Pardon me?
Do you know Sean Wooten? Do you know Sean Wooten?
No.
He was with the Dodgers. He's now with the Angels. He's like the hitting coach, and he lives here in Minneapolis. And
I think Dave Hansen. Dave Hansen who just got let go from the Angels. I know him, and so I was a fan of the Angels, and he's one of the reasons.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I was with Sean about a week ago, and Corey Seager was in town, so he was working out. So it was fun to be together with both of them. So it was fun. Sean Wooten actually coaches my granddaughter's little league basketball team. So that's how I got to meet her. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, great. This is Peter. You got any?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening. I'm eating it all up.
Interest.
I'm sort of like in the back of that truck coming back from Vegas. You know, I'm listening to all the good stories. I love stories. I love baseball stories.
Fabulous. It's so
Nothing
fabulous.
like baseball stories.
That's right. It's great.
Nothing like it.
Great.
Nothing like it. So, do you do this all year round? Do you, Jim? This is a 365, 52 week a year type of deal, or just in season, or what?
You mean my day job?
Yeah.
Yes. No, it's full time, and I have a little, a few entrepreneurial projects that I'm working on, and one of them has real potential. And meeting Rawlings and flying out to St. Louis in a couple of weeks to meet with them about an invention, and it's baseball. It's a baseball thing, but anyway, I kind of look at myself because of the book. It's changed my life, and I realized I'm a marketing guy, and I've worked in the ad agency world, and I've worked in the media world, and it's like, okay, so, I do that for my 9 to 5 thing, but I'm also like what I would call a baseball entrepreneur, and I've written a book. I do batting lessons and catching lessons, pitching lessons. And now I'm starting to do blogs and maybe even podcasts. Ralph and I are going to talk about that. So, I look at this, again, I said it earlier, if it's fun, it's not work. And if they're paying you and stuff, I get a little bit here and there for the book and, the podcast, the blog and lessons and all whatever. It's nice, sure. But it's not even, it's like, that's not what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for all the right reasons, I think. And that's why, the money's just gravy, and it's nice to, gas money or whatever to get back from California to Arizona.
Of course.
Sorry?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I have a new car. It's about a month old, and I've got 5,000 miles on it already. So
oh, my God.
I rolled it off the lot with 12, and now it is 5,012, I think, something like that.
Your station you work with, are they out of Arizona or out of California?
Yeah, I am in the Prescott area. They pronounce it Prescott, but it's spelled Prescott. Okay.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And if I say Prescott, living here now, I get that look. So.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, and then Flagstaff's the other big city, but there are a number of small little towns between here and there. And of course, I got this big hole about 2 hours north of me, kind of large up there in Grand Canyon, So,
right.
It's a wonderful area, and some days it's very distracting as I have to drive to a meeting and I'm looking out at this beautiful landscape. And, but I'm a Southern California guy where it's 85 right now, and I'm kind of cold here when they're telling me, oh, it's a warm winter, and I'm like, it's 52. They're like, oh, that's warm.
Come to Minnesota, it's 20. Come to Minnesota, it's 20.
I'm wearing long johns to work, and so. But it's a lot of fun. I'm working with like spring training. I had a meeting today with the guy that runs the ticket, the ticket and the marketing stuff for Sunrise. Surprise, where the Royals and the Rangers play. So I'll be doing promotional things with them as we get closer to the spring training games coming up here. So stuff like that. I'm still keeping baseball in my day job too.
Good.
It's great. It's great. If you love baseball, it's the best thing, and I love it.
Sounds like you have a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah,
well,
you do.
And that's I think it goes back to baseball because we would always you have to work and keep trying to get better, and also I swear there's a thing about when I'm bored I just do stuff I like, and then I found ways to make money at it, and so. Not a lot. Again, I'm not a rich guy or anything by that stretch, but I feel like I'm very rich in experiences, and I'm going to be playing in this 50 and over. I went to the USC alumni game the other day, and I got talked into playing on the 50-year-old, and over, tournament in Vegas.
Sure.
So mid-March I'll be strapping it on again and trying not to break a bat, Yeah, but it'll be fun. And there's guys that, I know them, and I endorse a few baseball products, and I kind of am like an outside sales rep for a couple of things that And I use these things like a thing called a Pro Glider. It's a training tool I use with my kids that I train. Fantastic device. It's hard to explain, but it has a wiffle ball that slides off this handle, and it goes in the direction that your swing is taking you, good or bad. And so
I've heard of it.
It's a fantastic tool. I can't recommend it enough. And I got mad at the inventor, who's a friend of mine now, and I'm like, why didn't you invent this in the early '80s when I could have really used it, you know? So, but it's something I would have hit in my hotel room, because I would have, you know, those heavy curtains in front of the glass. I would have just hit into those things after a bad game, trying to figure out what the hell I did wrong, you know. And
Right.
But that's one of the reasons, you know, I'll take this thing out there and I'll get asked by 15 or 20 guys, dude, what is that? You know, especially if I hit the ball pretty hard a little bit. They're like, oh, I got to get one of those. So, you know, there's my baseball entrepreneur, you know, venture. But hey, I'm going to be playing baseball again. And I told the guy I'm not catching, no matter what you say. And he's like, no, just want you to DH, just DH. And I said, I could do that. So.
Yeah, good. It sounds like you'll have a blast.
Yep, again, the book started a lot of this. Before that, I really wasn't, you know, doing a lot of baseball stuff. My boys had just finished their last years of baseball. Both of them went into music. In fact, my youngest, he's just going to be 19 soon, but he's open for like these huge tribute bands which are going around. This one's called Led Zeppelin again. They're one of the top Led Zeppelin tribute bands. And they played at the House of Blues at Disneyland, and they wanted a kid band, and my kid and his buddies auditioned, and boom, they're playing in front of 1,800 people at the House of Blues, and I was the roadie and taking video, and it's fun. You know, it's just, I look at it, and to me as a dad, it's like, you know, seeing your kid do something he loved, just like my dad used to play baseball and play football. You know, that is just, you know, and my dad said, you know, I had more fun watching you play than when I played. And I say the same thing. I feel the same way with my boys when I saw them play baseball and they were loving it. And now they're into their music thing and they're loving it. And the people are cheering for them. And, you know, they have this air of confidence because they're really good at something. And that's really what I think, you know, all parents should just find what their kid loves to do and get them great at it, even if it takes but that's part of life, you know. That's how we all evolve.
Sure, it's very important.
Sure,
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, you get good at something.
Talking about music, here in Minneapolis, you know, we have the Super Bowl this Sunday. So there's so much music going on. There's so many people here. It's just unbelievable. They say there's going to be about 500,000 people coming to town, and it's just been great. They've been doing songs about Prince. It's really been something. The whole city is lit up in purple.
That's awesome.
Purple rain. Yeah.
Purple rain. That's right. And purple for
one of my good friends.
Purple.
Yeah, one of my good friends was there. She and I worked together at a radio station in Phoenix a while back, and she moved back to Minnesota where she's in marketing and advertising there. But anyway, she's also a hockey player, right? And
really.
And so they went into their backyard. You guys had such a cold spell recently. She went into they have they dug out like a trench in the snow and they filled it up with water, and they made their own little ice rink. We're playing hockey and they put it on Facebook, and you know, and I was just thinking, hey, you know, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. So that was actually kind of a cool thing.
That's right. Does she work for a station in Minneapolis or? No.
You know, I can't really. She's been going mostly doing ad agency stuff. You know, and she did product placement in Hollywood, and she's a pretty accomplished person. And but yeah, we just started at some rock station in Phoenix, and we used to, you know, hang out. Our clients, we work next to each other. But yeah, she.
If you ever get up to Minneapolis, I'd love to have you come up. We'll get together. I'll show you all my Jackie stuff, and we can have lunch. It would be great.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And, you know, I don't even know. That's why, you know, I'm going to, I guess I'll be in 4 states in February so far. And again, life is just kind of, is kind of cool. And, one of the things that actually was presented to me recently, but the oldest living major league player, his name is Chuck Stevens. I don't know if you know who this guy is. Chuck was the last, on the last team for the St. Louis Browns. He then went on to be like the head of the American Professional Baseball Players Association, which is not the Major League Baseball players, like the union, but it's an entity that everyone belongs to, whoever played pro baseball. And Chuck was the president of that for many, many years. And I actually sat next to Sparky Anderson during one of those like banquets that we would have. And crazy thing is, they asked me to speak in last year's one, and I had a very nice. People gave me very, very nice, comments afterward. And Bobby Grich came up and gave me a big hug because he was in the presentation that I gave, So, but anyway, Chuck he's over 100 years old, and they asked me to speak.
Oh my God.
Asked me to speak at his 100th birthday, which is going to be in about 3 weeks. And so I'll go to St. Louis, and then I'll go to California for this thing with Chuck and this big thing, and then off to Vegas to swing the bat with the old guys. So kind of a fun little winter finish off of winter, and but I can't wait for baseball to start.
Me too.
Jim Campanis, that sounds sensational. Absolutely sensational. Really good. Life is for the living, and you're doing it. You're not sitting home saying, I should have written that book, and my grandfather did a lot of stuff, my father did a lot of stuff. You're not that type of a guy, and that's really great. And now you're reaping the benefits of all of that. You have to come back on and tell us how things are going, and keep us up to date. I'm sure you'll tell Ralph Tycho the same, and would like really thank you for coming on short notice on our show tonight, and we enjoyed having you, Ronnie and I, and we hope to hear more about you, and we'll keep up on Facebook with all of your shenanigans, and I'm sure you'll post some pictures or a dozen, and we're looking forward to that too. I thank you, Ronnie. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Again. And
Peter, thank you.
Happy birthday to Jackie Robinson.
To Jackie Robinson.
And
God bless
we love Jackie. And this is the 50s when Bums and Jints walk the streets of New York. Signing off for the night. Thank you, gentlemen, and good night.
Thanks, Jim. Bye-bye. Bye, Peter.